Well, Rich here, and welcome back to the channel, my fellow drifter maniacs. In today's video, I'm going to talk about everything that's right and wrong with the new Arrma Felony. I've been living with this car now for a smidgen over 2 weeks. It is absolutely outstanding to drive, I will say. If you're thinking it's just like a rebodied infraction, think again. But it's not absolutely perfect. There are a few things you do need to be aware of, but spoiler alert, there aren't many bad things coming up in this video. So what's the first thing Arrma got right with the Arrma Felony? Well, I would have to say from the outset, it's got to be the body. You can fit a supercharger, you can fit a Holly full stack of carbs on there. Attention to detail, everything on this body. Not everyone likes it, but I've had very few complaints indeed. I think I've only had one person say they absolutely hate the body versus the infraction. And at the back, it does look quite a bit different, but I'll come on to that in just a minute. So what's the first thing that Arrma got right and wrong on the Felony? Well, it's these rear tyres. They're much wider. With these on the car, you will just about decimate any of your local drag racers. Virtually nothing will beat this in a straight line. You can give it full throttle off the line. It runs in a perfectly straight line, albeit laying down quite some rubber on there. The only downside to these tyres, as of right now, they appear to be in stock absolutely nowhere. The car's been out 2 weeks and you still can't get new tyres for the thing. So there are quite a few people out there that will have bought the Arrma Felony, driven it round, honed it round, flattened the rear tyres, gone online to order the rear tyres, and they're not in stock anywhere. That was a problem with infraction. You would have thought somebody at Horizon Hobby would have been looking at that in the supply chain to make sure people could get these tyres. So as I say, the tyres, both good and bad. Good while they're fresh, bad if you can't get hold of them. And purely as an aside, anybody who's thinking of fitting these tyres to that Arrma infraction, do so by all means. I've got a set of 4 on order. Do not just fit them to the back. It's a 4-wheel drive car. They're smaller at the front. So if you fit them just to the back of the car, your front tyres are going to be going at a different speed to the rear tyres, and guess how easy that's going to handle under 6 horsepower. It's going to become a real handful very fast. But as I say, that is purely an aside. So if you're going to fit these tyres to your infraction, fit them all round, not just to the rear. And there are some neat thought out design features on the Arrma Felony. How are you going to lift it up to pick it back in your car? You're going to go like that, right? No, just grab that under there and you can lift the whole thing up in the air. Not many people didn't spot that one. All joking aside, while you can lift the car up by that, I think it's an absolutely outstanding design point that we have this gap in the back here so hot air can escape from the back of the car. Any air that's building up, airflow wanting to lift the body from underneath is going to come out of here and it's going to hit that rear spoiler and just add to the downforce on the car. Speaking of which, that rear spoiler looks a bit wide in infraction, doesn't it? And the one thing I think Arrma got absolutely right on the Felony is that rear spoiler. It is nearly 2 inches wider than that of the one on the Arrma infraction. It's very easy to remove downforce from these spoilers by cutting away and trimming the little wedges down in there, but you can't make an infraction spoiler bigger to add more downforce. Hope that makes sense on there. So we definitely think it's a good idea having the bigger spoiler with more downforce at the start. If you don't like that downforce, you want to make the car go faster, you can remove it. It's a lot easier to remove the downforce from the car than it is to add it onto a smaller spoiler. Now all that extra downforce should help keep the car on the ground, which is great because unlike the Arrma infraction with its roof rubbing rails, if the thing flips upside down, the Arrma Felony has absolutely nothing on the roof on there. I know it would spoil the look of the car, but I've already got a couple of scratches from a couple of times when I have turned it over. Don't ask doing. That's not a huge criticism, just something to be aware of. Well, the next thing somebody got right with this car is the gearing and the differentials. Noisy Arrmas of old. I've Traxxas cars that are noisier than that. Anybody who knows the traditional Arrma car, you can hear that Mod 1 gearing, grating. This thing absolutely buttery smooth, which is a good indication that's going to help put the power down better. Well, the next thing that's good about the Arrma Felony is not in the inside of the car, it's outside of the car. It's the new Spectrum Dx3 Transmitter they have supplied with the car. Completely different from before. There's a lot less plasticky in your hand than previous Spectrum models. You've got a huge amount of adjustment on here, and completely new to the party, brake rate. You can introduce that from 0 up to 100. Now that's an absolutely excellent thing because the brakes on the original infraction were, sorry Arrma, absolutely appalling. However, What is good about the car is what is bad about the car. You've got that set on 100%. Have you got 100% braking? No. The ESC braking is set to something like 75% as stock out of the factory. So even with that set on 100% braking, you have not got 100% braking of the car's potential. So I've done another video on that, which shows you how to adjust that to 100%, because then you're going to be able to dial this down up between 0 and a true 100%. So that's kind of what they got right about the car and what they got wrong about the car. And the new transmitter is great for the fact that if the car has been inactive on the side for any point in time at all, the transmitter begins to beep at you, reminding you you've left either the car, the transmitter, or both on, enabling you to save your batteries and turn the transmitter off. Very nice touch. And speaking of the Spectrum electronics on there, they are both good and bad reasons to like them in this car. We've got a new Spectrum Intelligent ESC on here with the built-in battery connector, so you can put that app on your phone and it can tell you exactly how much juice you've got left in your batteries, voltage, temperature on the car, lots of things like that. So it's good to see the new Spectrum technology included on the car. What is not so good is the ESC itself. I will come on to that in just a second, because I think somebody really has dropped the ball on that one. We've got a 2050 kV motor, the same as the outgoing Arrma Infraction. However, the great news is it's not going to overheat in a hurry, because we finally got an Arrma fan on board the outside of this thing to keep it cool. The downside to this ESC, while it's 160 amp ESC, the same as the outgoing one, I can tell you now, I managed to overheat this thing in less than 3 minutes. They did promise us they'd cured the overheating problems. I had 2 Arrma Infractions, and within 2 weeks, both of the ESCs had burnt out due to overheating, while I still had the stock gearing on there. I would have thought someone would have cured that problem. That's my major criticism of the car. In fact, that's my biggest criticism in this video of the car, is the ESC. This should not be overheating in under 3 minutes. That's not acceptable at this price point. So while it's great that we get the new Spectrum Smart ESC on here, I cannot help thinking that ESC would have been a lot better if you'd had a 200 amp one fitted onto the car instead of 160 amp. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below the video. And on the electronics, we still have the same stock 14 kilo steering servo in here. I've upgraded to a much stronger Power Hobby one on there. I'm very, very surprised we didn't see from Arrma a 20 or 25 kilo servo fitted to the car, particularly given that the steering has more to contend with given those wider rear tyres. What else is there to like inside the car? Well, we've now got a fully integrated electronics module. By just undoing 3 or 4 screws, you can remove the receiver and the servo in one move. Very nice feature, makes the car a lot nicer to work on. Okay, next thing I would say Arrma do love about their customers, and they listen to them, is this rear shaft had a tendency to vibrate at high speed on the Arrma Infraction and rub into this plastic rear brace on here. Never had it as an issue personally, but I know other people did, so I fully believe it. So what they've included is this little bearing carrier here to eliminate the vibration in this shaft. But at the same time, it occurs to me, Richie, well, that's good to see that somebody's listened and they put the vibration and they put the bearing carrier in there to stop the vibration. Why not simply have fitted a thicker drive shaft to the car? See where I'm coming from, people? And looking at that motor, besides the fan, what other changes have we had in this area? Well, we've still got the same easy to slide out gear change system on here, but we've got a new gearing system on here with like what they call the safety system on here, where the gearing is not only matched to the shaft so it can't go anywhere in a hurry, but it also has a circlip on the outside, so even if the grub screw comes loose, the gear can't slip off of the shaft, which is an absolutely outstanding feature to my mind. And I'm sure if you've had gears come off of your Arrmas, you're going to, like me, you're going to love that one. And tucked away behind that little plastic cover there, we've got a completely new drive shaft retention system. Never had a problem with the old ones myself, but good to see an improvement in that area, I guess. One thing I love about this car is it's still got the same huge battery trays you found on the Arrma Infraction, so you can fit huge capacity batteries in there. Now on the edge of the battery trays here, we've got these little studs. What's that all about then, Richie? Well, on the underside of the body, those little studs link in to these holes here. So why is that so good, Rich? Why is that such a big feature? Well, it's going to stop the car as the air pressure builds up underneath it. It's going to stop this side bodywork from flopping in and out as the air pressure builds up inside the car. Not something you would immediately think of, but a car that's going to be doing 80, 85 miles an hour, this will do at the top end. Those 3 little holes on the side, that's actually a pretty good major design feature in keeping the body from being pulled around, because if the body flexes around at speed, the car is going to become unstable, but not with this design. So when it comes to the new Arrma Felony, they've got an awful lot right with this car, very little wrong. My biggest gripe has to be that ESC. How someone could drop the ball, and if it's supposedly new ESC to the car, and yet things still have overheating issues at this price point, that's not really on. The new radio, absolutely excellent. Loving this thing to bits. It is supposed to have a longer range than the outgoing one on the Arrma Infraction. I will range test it against my Infraction radio at some point in the very near future, so we will see if there is much of a difference or not. The handling of the car. You think it's got the same power plant and ESC as the Infraction, yet it feels like quite a different car to drive. I guess a lot of that is down to those wider rear tyres, which you can just give full throttle to and you will outdrag just about any of your mates. No wiggle, no fuss. That thing just hooks up, catapults off the line in a straight line. Yet at the same time, it's very easy to provoke a drift on the back of this car, if not more so than the Infraction. Quite how somebody's worked that into the handling of the car, I'm not quite sure. But somebody at Arrma deserves a prize for the balance they've achieved with this car, which enables you to both nail that throttle, go off in a straight line, and it hones sideways in the blink of an eyelid, if you so wish to. So the car is very easy to drive like an absolute hoonigan if you so want to. Anyway, I hope you like my thoughts on everything that's right and wrong about the Arrma Felony. If you did, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Well, thumbs up if you like this video, guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.